Guys, we're at Elkville still, at the Elkville Road by the shelter, and we got some hikers that came out. We'll hear some cars coming by, so we won't film when they're coming by. But we got somebody, they're not through hikers, but they're hikers, and you know I like to talk to hikers, and I'm going to talk to them here. Get in here to the side. All right, tell me your name.
Pony Express.
Pony Express, tell me how you got that name.
In the Smoky Mountains, hiking with my friend Boomer and High Tops. I took off up the hill, and there I have horses, and they're like, they're thinking of horse names, and somebody said pack pony, and Boomer yells out, she's not a pack pony, she's Pony Express.
Pony Express, I love it, I love it. Let me see if she'll tell me her name.
I just got named Fern yesterday by Pony.
And what'd you get named?
Fern.
F-E-R-N?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I really like all these ferns over here.
My wife comes back, she'll like you because she loves ferns.
There we go.
You see a lot of ferns.
We were in a field of flowers, all the rhododendron, and all of a sudden she's like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, the flowers are really pretty. She goes, no, the ferns are beautiful.
How tall were they back there?
They're probably like mid-thigh.
Sherry and them saw up to over their waist in some places up north somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know where it was.
Yesterday were pretty tall like that too.
Now I know you've picked up. Usually don't talk to hikers until I pick up the camera. I really didn't talk to you much, but I did hear you say you've hiked 1,000 miles. Tell me about that.
After this trip, I'll hike 1,000 miles. So I'm a teacher in Michigan, and I try to take a I try to take a trip once a year, and just come out here and get the trails good tidings, and grow as a person, and get better and learn. And
now see the coaches, the Michigan coaches emblem, so tell me about that.
I also just recently retired from coaching girls basketball in Michigan too, so after 17 years of coaching. So I'm just going to be focusing on my kids, and camping and hiking, and spending time with.
Well, congratulations on that, and congratulations on the 1,000 miles.
Thanks.
And thank you for the service as a teacher.
Thanks.
Very important field. A lot of people don't appreciate it, but I do, and thank you for that. Tell me a little bit about this section you're doing now. When did y'all start? When will you finish?
We started 5 days ago in Duncannon, and I know you probably don't have other experiences on the Appalachian.
No, this is my first trip on the trail.
Yeah.
What about? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I have. It's definitely been really rocky. I've learned to not start with as many miles as we did.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, I really
What's
like
the
it.
most miles y'all did in a day?
Me 18.
Oh, yes.
I guess 19.
Oh, yes, that's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
That's a lot of miles.
I did 20 miles the day in the rain.
Yeah.
Now, what's your biggest day ever?
26 out of the NOC, in and out of the NOC.
Really?
It was
going north?
It was.
Really? Wow, I know it very well. That's why I'm saying wow. Because I mean, I've helped a lot of hikers, and normally go from the NOC to even the first road is a no-no.
Yeah.
And that's 15 miles. In fact, that's 14.8 miles. So I know where you went when you say that many miles. That's a big, big
Well,
thing.
and I did 2 extra because I went the wrong way, and I ended up at the fire tower, and I'm like, I've already been here, and it was a mile up, and I had to turn all the way back around, and yeah.
Well, then you were introduced to being a through hiker, because all hikers go the wrong way. One time, my wife did that and hiked about 4 miles the wrong way and had to double back every time. So y'all are going, you're using 2 cars. I've talked to people that did that before. That works pretty well. Is that what you always do when you come out and hike, or not necessarily?
No, not always. I have done it different ways, you know, just doing the traditional full backpack. And it's hard to be a section hiker, getting big miles.
Yeah, because you got to get retrained.
Right. Every year it takes about 5 to 6 days to get your legs under you, and then it's time to go.
You got to go home.
Yeah. So I found that I can still get big miles in if I'm not carrying a full pack. But if I'm carrying a full pack, it's.
So the good Lord willing, you're going to do the whole Appalachian Trail?
That's the plan.
Congratulations again. Anybody you want to challenge or say something to, or maybe just a hello to out there? And also, I want you to share with our viewers if they can follow you anyway.
Well, I journal on my Facebook page. So
Okay, you
it's,
want to give that out, or
it's Elizabeth Grunch, and it's
Grunch?
Grunch, Grunch, yep. And I want to shout out to Boomer,
Okay.
who is my trail friend, forever friend, and Wounded Knees, who started me. He's my uncle started me on loving the Appalachian Trail, and he's been hiking since Vietnam. Which
Wow.
yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
How about you? You want to say hello to anybody?
You know, I guess I'll shout out the only two people I've really met and befriended on this trail. Clover and Game Bear.
Game something.
Game something. Hey.
Game something.
You'll probably see him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, I may see them
Yeah,
tomorrow, and I
they'll be
may not
here.
remember them tomorrow night myself.
Yeah.
Meeting so many people. Again, thank y'all for taking a few minutes and talking to me, and congratulations on what you've done, and God bless every step you ever hike on the Appalachian Trail.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. Thanks.
Guys, we're still here. We're at Hamburg, and right out of Port Clinton. We're at the Microtail. What day is it? Do you know, Papa Smurf? I don't even know.
Well, the date is
Yeah.
June the 11th.
June the 11th, and it's probably close to dinner time today. I already said your trail name. Give us your trail name.
It's Papa Smurf 2019.
And how did you get that name?
Taking a motorcycle safety class back in 2012. You had to wear a long sleeve shirt. I don't like long sleeves, so I only had about 3 or 4 dress shirts. One was blue, so I sacrificed the dress shirt. And I had the full beard going on. I was the oldest person in class. One guy on the 3rd day of class called me Papa Smurf, and that was the first time.
That's cool. That's a very cool name. Now, have you been hiking around a group or same ones around? Or?
Not a single group. I'd probably say 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different groups.
Okay.
My pace is slow, so I'll join up with a group, spend some time with them. I've spent a little more time with the actual section hikers as a group, I guess because their pace is still slow
Okay.
versus the through hikers, but again, smaller groups.
You started when?
February 24th.
February 24th.
Yes.
And comfortable miles a day is what?
For me, it's between 15 to 18 is comfortable.
That's good mileage.
It's
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, 15, 18 miles a day will get you to Katahdin easy, very easy. Now, I know you've got a small injury, I think,
Yes, sir.
right now. Tell us about that.
The first injury that I considered coming up was I was back at Tumbling Fall on Blacktop Road. I actually did a tumble across Tumbling Fall, tumbling run there. And that just skinned up my knee. And
I saw a skin spot.
I skinned up my knee, and I actually busted my lip on the guardrail. So I was spitting up blood on that. But that wasn't bad because I did take a 0 to get some proper medication and do my first aid. The next day, after doing a 0, that was a town of Fayetteville in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I did that 0, and I felt really good coming out of there. I had my bandages on, I was doctored up, and that was the day I went through the midpoint. I was halfway through my journey, and I felt really good. And I stopped multiple times throughout the day. I even stopped, did the half-gallon challenge. Got there later in the afternoon, enjoyed that. That was a breeze. I enjoyed the ice cream.
Got the wooden spoon.
Got the wooden spoon. Got the wooden spoon. By the time I finished that, I went over to go see the museum.
Yeah.
And it was like they closed at 4, and I got there 4:15. So I missed the actual museum. So hiking out of that park, going up to the next shelter, it started raining. And it started raining, and rained pretty hard. And it was a gully washer coming down the mountain. And it started to hail. And it hailed hard enough to look like snow on the trail. And it also rained or hailed hard enough that the leaves were coming off the trees. And you could see the ground, and it was nothing but green because the leaves were coming off.
Right.
That day was 27 miles.
Wow.
So that was my longest day, and I felt really good that day. And however, I paid for it because the very next day I started to feel pain in my shin,
Yeah.
on my right shin, and felt some discomfort. So I said, I'm going to cut my miles back. I cut my miles back. I felt better the next day. I stayed cut back on my mileage, and what happened for me, at least psychologically, was I get to a shelter, and it would be like 1 or 2 o'clock, and I had a lot of daylight left, and I felt good. So I forced myself to stay in the shelter. So I'm here to recover. So I just relax the rest of the day, and that helped my shin.
Yes.
So I did that like 4 or 5 days in a row. Then I got here to it's Eagle's Nest, just south of here is where I stayed, and that's a 9-mile hike to get back here into Port Clinton and Hamburg. So a 9-mile hike, that's half of what I've been doing up to this point, even on a relaxing day. So that was like 3.5 hours to get here. Got here, got checked in here at the micro hotel, and when I got through with my visits to Cabela's and eating something in my resupply over at Walmart, I started packing things together, and the top of my foot, not my shin, but the top of my foot started feeling a little uncomfortable. And I touch it, and it's tender, and at that point, my foot was starting to swell. And I think it's related to the shin splints. And I was talking to I Believe, and she said it's probably the tendon that connects down my shin, down into my foot.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now. So today's my 0 to help me recover from my shin splints.
Now, when you get back out on the trail, which won't be long, I'm sure, do you have a time frame to be finished this year?
No.
Okay,
No,
that's good.
It's nice to be retired and actually know that I don't have to be pressed and pushed on.
How long you been retired?
Since September 1st of last year.
Last year. How long you been thinking about doing the trail?
Since July of 2015. Well, thinking about it's different than actually committing to it.
Okay.
Okay, so I've been thinking about it since my brother-in-law did it back in 2001.
Really?
So he did it. He retired in 2001. He did his first stint at hiking it in 2001. He finished as a section hiker in 2003.
Okay.
So he did over 3,000 miles to get a 2,000-mile journey
okay.
complete. So his experience kind of got me started.
Okay.
Got me started.
Now, how much knowledge that he shared with you that helped you on the trail? Y'all talk a lot about his experiences?
Getting started, to be honest, when he first talked about doing the trail, he talked about the Appalachian Trail, and I knew it existed in North Carolina, and I thought it was just a long trail in North Carolina.
Right.
That's all I really knew about it.
Right.
But as he got started, that's when I began to learn a lot about the trail and learn there's a lot more states than just one state.
Right, right.
So the 14 states was new to me, and the length of it was overwhelming to me to think somebody would do that. So long story short, back in 2001, the technology to actually do your logging didn't exist. The people back then had to go to a payphone, call their family, check in, and his journal was basically handwritten. And his handwritten journal would get mailed to my wife, and she would actually transcribe the journal and put it into trail journals. So that's when I started following people on trail journals.
Oh, wow. So you've been involved here now 16, 17, 18 years now?
Yes, sir.
Somehow.
Yes, sir.
What's been the best thing about being out here this year for you?
Oh, the people. You've heard that a lot, and it is so true. It is so true. I've met people from all around this world.
Yeah.
All around the world.
Good people, might I say.
Great people.
Great people.
Great people.
What's been the hardest part for you?
The heat.
The heat?
Yeah.
Okay.
When the heat first came on board, it was like it lasted was it in Central Virginia, and it was like my first 4 days when it was like over 80 degrees. And when I hit the areas, and we were doing this pasture and field walking, and when I'd come out of the shade and it would just bake on me, it just really drained my energy, and that was the big thing.
Yeah.
Now, that helped to get me conditioned for later when it stayed warm, and I'm doing better, but that was the roughest part.
Exactly. All your equipment has worked good, or had you have to replace any equipment?
No replacements. And actually, I've been pleased with my equipment. Yes.
Now, when you walk, I asked this a few times this year, when you're walking along, how often do you come across a spot during the day and it's not time to stop, but it's a gorgeous and a beautiful spot to camp, Steph camp?
It depends on what time of the day that is.
Okay.
My philosophy has kind of changed as far as my plans on camping and when and where I camp. Started out, it was like shelter, or I'd pick a starting point, pick a shelter, and say I'm going to make it to this shelter or this campsite, and that was the way I did it. With the heat, I've changed my philosophy, and it goes along with what you just mentioned about stealth camping. I'll do the same thing, but I don't commit to that shelter at the end. I'll go because I can skip shelters sometimes with a longer mileage. I'll go to the shelter and I'll use that as a place to, relax, enjoy a meal or snack or whatever. And I'll ask myself, how do I feel here? How much daylight's left? And do I want to go any further? And usually the answer on the first shelter is at least, yeah, sure, I feel good. I usually feel good. Or I'll even take a nap. I've actually taken naps in shelters just to get rested up and move on. So I'll be at one shelter and say, well, I still have a lot of daylight left, and this is the shelter I plan to be at. I got 5 hours of daylight. And I'll say, well, I'm going to either go to this campsite or I'll stealth camp wherever I can find one. So that happens on a semi-regular basis right now.
If anybody that you can think of, that you know, could be here tomorrow to hike out with you, who would you want that to be?
I'd like it to be my wife, but she would never do it.
Okay, that's okay. You can still want that. That's a good answer. There's nothing wrong with that.
She would not enjoy the experience. I know that to be true. But it would be nice because I miss her.
Okay, that's good. And that's what the other thing is, what you miss most about home.
Yes.
That's what you miss.
Yes.
What do you not miss about being at home?
The honey-do list.
Cutting grass. Cutting grass time,
Yeah.
Cutting grass time, that's a good answer. Anything up the trail that you're already looking forward to?
There's actually a lot of things. I mean,
Okay.
it's like the highlights of some of the things you see in videos and pictures and whatnot.
For instance, give me a couple.
I mean, the whites.
The white?
I'm looking forward to the whites.
Absolutely.
I sort of fear and look forward to the whites at the same time because you hear all the horror stories about how difficult it is, but I've seen a lot of the videos and heard a lot of stories, and
You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's breathtaking for sure. And you said you didn't have a set time to be finished, so that's a good thing. How will you get home once you summit? Do you know that at this point?
There's a loose plane out there that my wife has always wanted to visit Maine, so she may come out and spend like a week after I summit. We'll have a vacation time together.
Good.
So that's a loose plan right now. So we'll see how that plays out.
Anybody that you might want to say hello to out there, and then also in the same phrase, comment that you make, whoever you want to say hello to out there, anybody, or if you're speaking to a stranger, what would you say to them if they're thinking about doing the Appalachian Trail?
Let me thank a few people right now, if you don't mind.
Sure.
That'd be my wife and my mother, and my brother and his family. They've been great support, but as far as people who helped me out quite a bit, my brother-in-law, his trail name's Chief, he's been staying in touch with me, and he can actually give me advice on what's coming up next and what to do. So
that's valuable. That's very valuable.
It really is. I met a gentleman. He's a section hiker. His trail name is Captain Handy.
Okay.
He hiked with me for about 3.5 weeks in southern through central Virginia. He gave me a lot of valuable information. So I want to thank him for what he has done for me.
And I usually tell people, when I ask that question, I just did the last people interview, I emphasize how valuable that is to have good support back at home. Would you agree with that?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer, but we'll get to talk off camera a little bit. I thank you again for taking a few moments out of your time, and congratulations on what you've done. Congratulations on what I know you're going to accomplish, and God bless every step between here and Katahdin, Papa SMURF.
Thank you very much.